Welcome to Millenia. Welcome to the realm of Millenia. It is week 8, and all you entities of all the foils and coils are still welcome into the realm. Be ye a man, woman, child, be ye a spirit creature, or even a demon. Be ye a native migrator, or even an invader into the realm. Welcome. For I am your host, the Millenia Mailman, here today. It is week 8, and it is a glorious, wacky idea. Hot take. Hump day. All right. And a part of that week 8 hot take is that capitalism economics will only get better for the common people when something on my phone screen. Let me restart. It is week 8, and the hot take of the week is that capitalist economics will only get better for the common people when the families stop dividing, right? So let's get in on this one. Excuse me, how gross of me. But yes, week 8, that is the hot take, and that is the discussion. That being said, to describe it a bit, first and foremost, all economics is really, to put it in the most bare-bone layman's of terms, is a whole bunch of questions and answers to supply and demand. Supply, demand, right? That is the bare-bone basics of what exactly is economics. Economics is the most convoluted way of understanding the interconnected relationships of various goods being supplied and the demand for said goods and services. That is economics, and people who understand it best can gain the most financial success and general, they tend to have some of the best social respect and status and outcomes because of their ability to navigate the economics of things being supplied and others' demand for those things and services being supplied to people, right? That is the bare bone basics of economics, right? Now, on the more so topic of this Western Hemisphere society, if you will, the main economics that supports the American dream is, especially a part of that Constitution, is what exactly is the bare bone basics that everyone needs so they can have equal opportunity, equal fair starting point and discussion, so they can live their lives the way they feel they should and be able to live their lives, right? So something we need to have a better grasp of as an American society is what it is, the bare bone basics of economics that we need to prioritize so that we can see the economics get better without 100% collapse. So let me tell you, everyone eats food and drinks a drink. Everyone needs shelter and a place to sleep. And everyone does things throughout the day, every single day, up until the day they die. Eat, sleep, play, or develop. Eat, sleep, play, or develop. That is food, water, shelter, and things to do. Entertainment, if you will. Food, water, shelter, entertainment. Those make up the bare bone basics of what is constantly being economically traded and supplied and demanded of anyone who has ever lived a day in their life. You've had to eat and drink. you've had to eventually go to sleep and have a place to sleep, and you've always had to have something to do. Otherwise, like, seriously, right? So those are the basics. Now, some of the most neglected things that I feel the younger generation is losing contact of is the fact that you're alive means that you're not necessarily dying of starvation, because in order to live another day, you have to eat and drink something. So while that is a constant thing, everyone already understands you have to eat and drink. And in order to eat and drink terrible food, you don't need a lot of money. In order to eat and drink well, you may have to have a bit more, right? But food and drink is not always the biggest thing, especially not in the Western society where everyone's fat as hell. Look at this gut. That's why I'm walking. This gut, oh, you can't even see it on the dark screen, but this fat gut of mine is so should be the reason that you can obviously tell I am in the Western Hemisphere. Food and water is not an issue to me. Better tasting food and water is something I connoisseur to have every day, right? But as long as I eat and drink, I get to choose what I am about to do every single day without a gun to my head. There's no gun to my head dictating what I'm allowed to go ahead, act on, and live by, right? So I get to choose what I spend my money on. I get to choose the things I do, making effectively the biggest single time expense I have to ever worry and concern myself about is shelter. What I and everyone ever living has to make the conscious acknowledgement of is that you and your family's biggest expense is that acre and a mule of the American dream, right? Land and property, your assets. Your biggest single expense are the home you and or your family will have to live in, right? The American dream was structured in a way that allows every single person the opportunity to for lack of better words, the American dream was structured in a way that makes it easiest for families to be able to build up a headquarters, a safe haven for families to live in and build upon, so that individuals of said family can go ahead, branch out, and go about doing the things they want with and in their lives. The American dream structure is made in a way that makes it easiest for families to collaboratively work together to have something to fall back on, so that each and every individual of that said family can go ahead and branch out and be the most successful, best business, best practitioner of whatever the hell, or religious exec of, or exactor of whatever it is. So long as your family got together and built something to fall back on, namely the house you all reside, you can go about living your lives in a manner that allows you to do whatever the hell you want from your day to day. Because you will always have food and water. You need to first prioritize your home and the place you sleep, and then you can do whatever you want. Eat, sleep, develop, or play. In order to play however you want, or in order to develop however you want, you need a place to fall back on. And because of that structure, that foundation that we have in Western society, but specifically the Americas, United States of America, because of that structure, that is what allows us economically to be the best place in this entire world. That structure that has yet to be toppled is what allows America to be consistently the greatest place and land of opportunity. Right? Now, some of the crisis we tend to hear about and gets commonly discussed in America is the housing and employment crisis because of the housing epidemic. Houses are constantly getting upped and increased in pricing, making it harder and harder for families to get homes. Why is that? Because some people, and I do say people because it's individuals who are effectively, for lack of better words, getting indoctrinated in a manner that overly inflates individual importance over family respect. Everyone, for lack of a better targeted word, everyone is under this misconception that their self-worth, their self-autonomy is genuinely always greater than family and community, right? They, for themselves, want this awesome, epic, successful history for their autobiography and recognition. So everyone is collectively overly inflating their self-worth without giving proper credence to, hey, family and community has always and should always be properly held sacred and respected, because without a majority of people without something to fall back on are going to effectively end up flopping on their face without a way to develop and grow their own family. When you go ahead and waste and cut the bridges and ruin the opportunity of your family, you ruin the ability for your future family to be able to get this thing. Everyone's always fighting about, back in my day, I was able to buy and afford a house. Well, yeah. Back in your day, people understood, respected, and acknowledged family first, and we'll do whatever we want and play, eat, however, and this and that after. But first comes the family and the place we have to live and fall back on. Everything else is everything else. So back in your day, you were owning the land and doing that. But here, with this overly inflated sense of self-entitlement and self-actualization and individual effort before the prioritization of family, more and more people, more and more individuals are going out and claiming the homes before the families get to. Less and less families are owning homes, owning any assets for their family to fall back on and build up off of, because everything's already owned by individuals. But hey, economics, supply and demand, right? There's less supply, so we're gonna up the price because more people are demanding to have these things. There are less homes, so we gotta build some more homes, meaning the homes already on the market gonna go way, way up. Meaning, hey, look at me. Hey, I have a family of 5 I need to house and shelter. What do you mean some single guy from Oklahoma is buying a house, a 5-bedroom villa, townhouse, or whatever it is, for himself to visit on the summer? I live here in Florida, and I can't afford a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, 2-bath for my family of 6 now, because individuals are buying it all up to do things. They're buying it up and wasting it because they have no sense of family importance first and prioritization of needs before the wants. In this society of growing individuality, everyone's putting the cart before the horse. Everyone's putting this sense of self-worth and the things I want before the things they need. So it's a mentality that's effectively shooting everyone in the foot, figuratively and not so figuratively, because it's ruining the prospective opportunity that everyone has to have a family. It's really ruining that. Darn, I missed the light. I didn't realize it told me to walk. I can wait. But yeah, so that is something that is rather extremely important that is being forgotten in this current age and generation here today, most unfortunately. So you just got to be mindful, people. The economics for the common people will naturally, generally not ever get better so long for any of the common people, let alone the rich. The rich will always be able to afford this and that, really, right? But for the common people, when the common people try to act like they live by the rules and expectations of the rich, and they already have these headquarters and these bases, when they act like you already got that something to fall back on when you really don't, you're putting the cart before the horse and ruining it for yourself. Because had you first put your family first so that you would have the family to fall back on when you go about developing, you might have been all those successful, awesome things that you felt and believed you could have been. But because you put the cart before the horse, because you shot yourself in the foot time after time after time, of course you can't walk no more. You're not going to be winning any Olympic races and ever get that gold place. You might end up getting silver or probably bronze at best. But you're not going to be hitting the Forbes list because you ruined it. You ruined your own opportunities. Common people are ruining their own opportunities for that great, awesome success because they don't have anything to fall back on as a safety net for them to bounce back the way they need to. Because the American dream was about family. And more people are losing that. They're losing families in promotion of this individuality, self-inflated importance, which is not even in your best interest, right? Nowadays, there are more and more homelessness that is getting ramped up and getting news and articles here and there. There are more homeless people than ever before. Yeah, and there's also more individuals owning homes than ever before. The percent of families that have homes is lower than ever before because there are more individuals taking up those homes. And since the biggest expense that anyone, any individual, let alone families, have to acknowledge, take credence, and calculate for is the home. Since that land, that home, is the biggest expense, that is the make or break it telltale of this generation and what is to be future generations. Because so long as individuals and this mentality of individuals first is rocking the charts, everyone will naturally be prone to losing their opportunity to have it all. Because the American dream put family first, and individuals that say, I don't need anyone, I don't need this, I don't need that, I can do it all big and bad by myself, wind up being caught red-handed, big and bad, all by yourself, and now you have nothing. So I feel like I'm gonna derail and digress from the topic if I speak too much longer, because I'm getting tired, because I'm fat. But howdy. But naturally, of course, hey, that's just me and the devil's advocate this week. So by all means, if you like or agree with anything I had to say, go ahead, click that like button. Of course, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, I will read all the comments I possibly can, as often as I possibly can read them. So go ahead, put your discussions in that comment section down below, of course. And by all means, go ahead and share it if you think the discussion is worth being exposed and furthered. And subscribe and press the bell button if you never want to miss out on any notifications for the videos I would be posting, because I will be posting every single day until the book I am working on in this Millenia series for the realm of Millenia is published, right? But hey, that's just me, and I will be world building for you long after you've acclimated and fit in. Peace.